Janet Yellen, she had to tell Congress yesterday, like, hey, as of June 1st, we ain't got no more money. And if that's the case, then, well, the entire global economy crashes for reasons outside of the normal variables that we talk about on here. Because if we can't pay on the interest of U.S. Treasuries become worthless. And U.S. Treasuries are the basis for every bank, every sovereign wealth fund, every pension fund, every hedge fund, every family fund, every financial institution, Social Security, you name it. All of that wealth that's being held, all those treasuries that are being held, is the foundation for all their investments. And all the plays they make, all the margin they use, everything else. So if you allow treasuries to collapse, then the entire economy disappears into the ether. So essentially right now, the Republican House is holding the debt ceiling hostage. It just needs to be one of those things where we write a law and we pass it that automatically just either gets rid of the debt ceiling, or if you pass a budget, it's just included. So it's no longer this brinksmanship that's constantly happening, because it affects the economy, not just ours, but the entire globe's. And it's silly. We should and deserve better. Should do better and deserve better. Martin Weiss, do you think we're about to reach the thermocline of trust when it comes to the U.S. dollar? If we don't raise the debt ceiling, yeah. If we don't raise the debt ceiling, U.S. dollar's toast. It's not worth spit. Which means every bank on earth is done as well, because a significant portion of all the globe's transactions are in dollars. So if I were a Putin loving double agent propagandist, I would be all about not passing the debt ceiling and watching everything come crashing down. That would be specifically the best thing I could possibly do, asymmetrical warfare wise, to defeat my opponent. Would be crash their entire economy by having a bunch of nimrods not raise the debt ceiling. It's the simplest thing in the entire world. All you do is you go, raise the debt ceiling, and everything's fine. But if you don't hit that raise the debt ceiling button, all hell breaks loose. And I've tried to paint this picture in the past of just how bad not raising the debt ceiling is. When I talk about every fund and bank on earth no longer having any money, that's exactly what I mean, right? Now, we have, 70 million Americans living off of Social Security, something ridiculous like that. How many retirees do we have? How many Americans on Social Security? 69.1 million. So 70 million Americans are on Social Security. Okay. All of Social Security's investments are U.S. Treasuries. So when you pay your Social Security tax on your paycheck, that money buys U.S. Treasury bonds, right? And then with the interest off those bonds is what they pay out to those 70 million people so that they can survive. Now, if the interest is no longer coming in from the federal government, that means there's nothing left to pay the people who are living off of Social Security. And if you got to sell those bonds in order to pay for their Social Security, you're selling them at a penny on the dollar, right? So Social Security goes blink, it's gone. We've got 70 million people all of a sudden eating cat food. Cool. Awesome. Okay, we've got 70 million Americans can no longer buy food, can no longer pay rent, they're dying in their homes from starvation. And they're old people, so we aren't really going to do anything to help them anyway, because we're America, we care about the youth. We let them all die from COVID and everything else. But piggyback on top of that, Medicare and Medicaid invest in U.S. Treasuries. So boom, healthcare for another 100 million people out the window, 150 million people out the window. Your pension fund. If you happen to have a good job that has a pension, your pension worth zero. You will not get paid out when you retire. So not only will you not have Social Security, you will not have any other finances you want. If you're a member of a hedge fund, if you belong to a bank, if you invest with a brokerage, you do. If you're from a nation that's not the United States and you have a sovereign wealth fund, whether it is a provincial sovereign wealth fund like you have in Canada, a national one like you'd have in Norway or Saudi Arabia, every single one of those probably dropped to half their value instantaneously. Not only that, but you have entire nation central banks who use U.S. Treasury bonds as almost like a currency. So Bank of Japan done, Bank of China done, Bank of Saudi Arabia done, right? German banks, EU banks in general, like they all have significant holdings in U.S. Treasury bonds. So the entire global economy evaporates in an instant. So I don't know if we have any stupid idiots from Congress that are watching my show right now, but if you happen to be, fucking vote yes. Raise the debt ceiling. If you want to make a big grandstand about government spending, why didn't you do it when 90% of the debt that we accrued happened under Republican presidents? Right? So, like, the vast majority of debt that's been accrued has been accrued under Reagan, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump. Those three. So, you didn't whine about it then. Why are you whining about it now suddenly? And the debt ceiling is all about paying debts we already took out, not creating new ones. It's about paying the debt we already took out. You'd be like, yeah, I'm voting not to pay my credit card bill. Awesome. I'm sure things are going to go really well for you if that happens. I'm sure that your life is going to be so much better when you stop paying your credit card bill, your mortgage, or whatever. It's about the debts you already took out. So just raise the debt ceiling. It's going to be just a dystopian future and a really bad one. Even the rich people will be poor off of this. That's why Jamie Dimon, a couple months ago, went to Congress and was like, you son of bitches, raise the debt ceiling, I'll kill you. It's like, he needs it done. Quit pussyfooting around, just do it already. B-Ball 3710. Will our government ever spend within an annual budget ever again? I mean, we could easily if we make rich people pay. It's simple as that. If we had national health care, that would reduce spending by probably $1 trillion a year alone. But I mean, the last time we spent within our means was 1999-2000 budget, and one of the first things that George W. Bush did when he got in office was the $300 tax credit for everybody. Hey, everybody, you get $300 back. And everyone's like, woo! And then all of a sudden we were debt spiraling again. And then we invaded a bunch of countries. And we spent trillions of dollars killing people around the world on trumped up intel. And that's where we've been ever since. So that when it came time, when the economy actually collapsed in 2008, we already had just gigantic deficits, and we had to make them even bigger to save the economy. And we managed to get the deficits down over the 8 years of the Obama administration. And then, Trump became president. And what did he do? Cut taxes on rich people. And deficits skyrocketed. And then we had a gigantic global pandemic, and we had to spend more money than ever thought possible. And deficits went through the roof. So if you're cutting spending or cutting taxes when times are good, you are going to end up in really, 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 really bad states when times are bad. Rich people are rich no matter how much they're paying in taxes, right? If you're paying 30% and you're filthy rich, and you're paying 40%, you're still filthy rich. So just make them pay 40%. I mean, when the Clinton administration passed their budget in '93 that raised taxes on rich people, it raised it to like 37.9% or something. It was nominal. We went on one of the largest and longest economic growths and job creating paths in U.S. history. And we managed to have budget surpluses all of a sudden and paid down debt for the first time since, I don't know, like the 19 teens. So not such a bad idea. Just make a progressive tax rate on rich people and then punish the hell out of them when they try to move money overseas. Done. They want to live here. They don't want to live overseas. They might have their money live over there, but really they don't want to go live over there. where, bad things can happen to them when they aren't protected by the Constitution. Justin Stewart, with inflation, cat food is too expensive to eat on Social Security. That's probably true as well. It's a Tucker cat. Were you out murdering things last night? Were you having a good time slaughtering? That's true. So they'll just have to eat what they forage, I guess.